They call him Snowtrooper. Anything he can't shoot, he'll trample under his boot. Woot woot.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Sonny, you kissed my wife. Baby, my heart's on fire.
With the new Star Wars movie now out of theaters, on DVD, and the next movies on the horizon, Hasbro is only just now allowing some of the more popular figures to wheeze their weary way into stores. One of these figures is the Black Series Snowtrooper, number 12 in the series. At least that's what the box says. It has the same style of box art as other figures in the series, a kind of illustrator vector sketch look. The box is a simple rectangular affair. It shows off the figure and its included accessories. On the back is the multilingual bio, which reads, "The latest generation of cold weather assault stormtroopers. Snowtroopers wear advanced insulated armor and helmets that reduce the glare of icy terrain." The Stormtrooper figures have always been the army-building favorites of every fanboy collector, and the Snowtroopers in particular have been highly anticipated. Let us remove the Snowtrooper from its plastic prison and review it properly. Out of box, the First Order Snowtrooper seems to have a lot less black on it than some of the other figures like the Flame Trooper or the Stormtrooper. Overall, having less paint somehow makes the figure seem flatter and less detailed, even though there is a fair amount of sculpted detailing. There is simulated padding on the arms, legs, belt pouches, and textured ribbing on the skirt. The figure has a large helmet with black highlights, and a very faded strip of black over the eye slit. The Snowtroopers also have the QR code on the chest plate, and there is also this indentation with, I don't know, some USB ports, I guess, for plugging in their iPhones. There is plenty of room for improvement for enterprising hobbyists who feel confident with black paint and a fine-tipped brush. Much of the plastic has a softer feel to it, weaker, if you will. The armor parts don't really look like metal, and the clothy parts don't really look like cloth. It all looks kind of plasticky. The Snowtrooper comes with two accessories. First, this pack. It is hollow with some molded struts in the cavity to keep it from totally collapsing onto itself. It has matching white paint and some red and black detailing. Although again, kit bashers will probably choose to add more detailing on their own. The pack plugs fairly neatly into a hole on the Snowtrooper's back. Also included is this black and white laser rifle accessory. It can be held in either one of the Snowtrooper's hands, although it is optimized to be held in the right hand, since the trigger finger of the right hand is molded to be hooked around the trigger guard of the rifle itself. Simply slip the handle into the hand and then hook the finger through the trigger guard, and it will hold firmly in place. Take care when doing this to avoid damaging the gun or the hand, which have a more flexible feel to the plastic and may be subject to damage or breakage. Unlike with other Stormtrooper figures, the Snowtrooper does not appear to have any weapon storage. The laser rifle will not plug into the thigh for obvious reasons, and there is nowhere else on the figure, not even on the backpack, which seems to have any place in which to tab the laser rifle. And if you are patient with posing the arms, you can even have the gun held in both hands. For articulation, the Snowtrooper head will rotate a full 360 degrees on a ball socket and hinge. Though the ridge of the helmet in the back and the front inhibits the tilting, it will tilt forward a fair amount, but not backwards. The shoulders are ball-socketed and will do a full rotation. The swivel hinge motion is inhibited by the shoulder armor plating. However, the limits do not seem as severe as they were with the Storm or the Flame Troopers. There are hinges in both elbows which allow approximately 45 degrees of rotation, and they will also swivel in their sockets. Same for the wrists, although the wrists only seem to allow 15 degrees of tilting before mashing into the forearms. It should be noted that the plastic on the arms feels soft and somewhat flexible, same with the legs. None of these joints should be forced or bent too roughly. The plastic loops which form the hinges may snap or tear. The Snowtrooper will bend slightly forward at the upper waist, but not backwards. It will also rotate a full 360 degrees at the upper waist, though doing so will cause this armor plating to scrape against the plastic of the lower torso. As with Captain Phasma and her infamous cape, the Snowtrooper's one big plus is also its biggest drawback, namely the trench coat / skirt that it wears. It is made of a flexible, rubbery plastic, but it still interferes with the figure's leg articulation to an extremely high degree. The legs have ball socket joints, and they will swivel forwards and backwards fairly easily, but the skirt quickly interferes. There is an upper thigh rotation, and the Snowtrooper has the Hasbro Marvel Figures standard double-jointed knee. The feet will pivot backwards and forwards. They will even tilt very slightly from side to side. However, the shins end with a sort of flexible plastic rubber cuff that prevents the feet from rotating too much in any direction. You could get a fairly robust amount of leg rotation with the Snowtrooper were it not for the skirt, but since the skirt is one of the things that makes the figure look really cool, you're just kind of stuck with it. Creativity, caution, and patience will be key when posing this figure. For size comparison, here is the Snowtrooper next to its Captain Phasma. Snowtrooper looks a bit runty compared to the Captain. Here is the Snowtrooper next to one of Harry Potter's Dementors. And here is the Snowtrooper next to a bottle of I can't say Worcestershire. The Black Series figures are a definite step up from their 3.75-inch counterparts, and a must for any Star Wars fan. And as normally unobtainable as the Snowtroopers can be, you would be well advised to pick one up if you happen to see it in stores. The pluses include a very cool appearance, because of the plastic skirt, and a decent amount of articulation. The minuses are use of softer plastic on many of the major joints, a lack of weapon storage, lack of paint detailing. The figure is also slightly smaller than most Black Series figures, and there are severe limits on many joint rotations because of the plastic skirt. The Black Series Snowtrooper earns 7 out of 10 deaths. The obvious irony being that these very white trooper figures are all part of the Black Series.
If you refuse me, honey, you lose me, then you'll be left alone, oh baby, come on and tell me I'm your own.